This woman is a conspiracy theorist, and I don't know if she believes the earth is flat or whatever, but there's one conspiracy that's gonna get her sent to prison for a long time. Let me explain. Now, her name is Tina, and she's a county clerk and the person in charge of making sure every ballot in her county is counted during an election. And one day, the 2020 presidential election happens. And unfortunately for Tina, her favorite candidate doesn't win. So, because she's a conspiracy theorist, she starts thinking the election was rigged, and she's convinced it's some kind of deep state conspiracy. So, instead of reporting her suspicions to the county attorney, Tina comes up with a shady plan to break into the voting machines in her county in order to prove her conspiracy. However, she can't just go in and access these machines alone. There are all sorts of checks and balances in place, and someone else with the passwords has to be there in person for it to work. Now, there is an IT consultant who got dragged into this scheme, and we'll just call him IT Guy. And he has access to the machines, but we'll get back to IT Guy. So anyway, Tina really wants to get into these voting machines. And one day, she gets a hold of IT Guy's security badge. And she gives that badge to another dude. A dude we'll call Conspiracy Turd. And so then, Tina, Conspiracy Turd, and the deputy clerk, this woman, Belinda, they all three go to the election offices, and Conspiracy Turd uses the security badge that they took from IT Guy, and he pretends to be there on official government business. And they use that badge to access the passwords. And suddenly, they have access to the election system's hard drive. So they get some screenshots of the data, and they copy everything onto an external drive. And by the way, all of this is very illegal, because it's election tampering. But then, allegedly, Conspiracy Turd takes all this voting system data, and he gives it to a bunch of other conspiracy turds. And then, a few months later, some of that voting system data shows up on the internet. Passwords, videos, images, for the whole world to see. Now, obviously, voting machine data is information that shouldn't be public. A big reason is because people can then use this information to then hack the voting machines. So this is a very big deal. And this sensitive information is now on the internet, and pretty quickly someone alerts the Secretary of State of Colorado. So then the next day, boom, the district attorney's team goes to Tina's office to investigate, and they of course find signs of a security breach. And then, bam, the Secretary of State suspends Tina's position as county clerk. Meanwhile, the deputy clerk, Belinda, she's also suspended and barred from going into the office. But Belinda sneaks back in to print some documents or something, and boom, she gets caught and arrested. Here's her mugshot. So now, Tina and Belinda are officially barred from supervising any elections because they knowingly took voting machine data and gave it to a bunch of conspiracy theorists. But here's where the story gets out of control. A few months later, Belinda goes to trial, and Tina shows up to support her. And while Tina's sitting in court, she pulls out her iPad, and she starts recording. You can see her with the iPad here, there she is, and there's the iPad. Now, you're not allowed to video record a court proceeding, especially when they specifically tell you not to. So some people spot her recording, and she gets caught and charged with contempt. And the judge issues a search warrant for that iPad. Then, the next day, Tina goes to a local bagel shop, and the police show up with a search warrant for that iPad. And Tina, she is just not going to cooperate. So they handcuff her, and she is not happy.
Let go of me. You let go of me. Let go of me.
She even tries to kick the officers as they handcuff her. And let's see that again in slow motion. But ultimately, they do get the iPad from her, and they bring her outside, and she fights them the whole way.
Let go of me. You're hurting me. And I'm going to show all the bruises that you put on me.
So if you're not going to cooperate, you'll be charged with obstructing.
Let go of me.
Understand that.
You let go of me now.
But Tina is still not going to cooperate.
Let go of me.
Stand up like an adult.
Shut up. What an asshole thing to say to me. What an ass thing to say to me. Okay.
You're under arrest. You are being
You're hurting me.
And anyway, she eventually does get arrested. Here's her mugshot. Now, after she's arrested and this video goes viral, other conspiracy theorists who also think the presidential election was stolen, they hear about this, and they get so mad, they call 911 in Tina's county to express their outrage.
I want to talk to whoever the hell put those handcuffs on that nice woman. I saw it on television. I can't believe it. I'm a Colorado resident, and I'm furious.
And it's not just one angry 911 call. It's so many calls that it jams the 911 lines.
What they did to Tina Peters today was outrageous. When did they become a communist?
So anyway, Tina gets out of jail on bond, and it appears like she does everything in her power to control the narrative and delay her trial for the election tampering. Like she fires her lawyers a bunch of times, she tries to run for Secretary of State thinking maybe getting elected into